Test Podcast. I'm Ryan.
I'm Will.
And today we're going to talk about breaks. But first, we're going to give you a little update. What's on the plate for the update?
Well, last we spoke, Ryan and I were both headed in different directions in the country. Myself to Arizona, Ryan back to Massachusetts. How's your trip?
It was great. It was like fucking tiring because everyone was really excited to see me for a very short period of time, which meant I was up until like 4 a.m.
A lot.
Most nights, partying with my family and, generally sharing the love.
Yeah.
It was great.
That sounds awesome. And it's like the weather was pretty good while you were there too, right? It's humid this time of year. Did it rain at all?
Rained a little bit.
Because I missed the rain. Just living out here, I missed the rain a lot.
Me too.
That was probably the biggest highlight of being in Arizona. Like getting over, there's two things that bother me about Arizona, and one thing that's like super redeeming. The thing that bothers me is it's like so hot that you can't really walk places. I mean, I did, but you shouldn't. It's 100 and something degrees.
Yep.
108. It's crazy. Walking's not great. And the alternative of that is when you pack as though it's going to be 108 degrees.
Yeah.
And then you spend your entire time in a conference room in a hotel that they keep at 62 degrees.
Yeah.
I was cold the entire time. I didn't expect to go to Arizona and freeze my ass off because I only brought the lightest shirts and shorts and one pair of pants, which I wore like 3 days.
Yeah.
And one really thin hoodie, which I like also wore almost every day.
I'll bet the air inside and outside was so dry. Like I would have had like 500 nosebleeds while I was there.
Now, here's I think I just got lucky. But what the third thing is the redeeming quality. So it's too hot outside, it's too cold inside. But the time that I was there, it's monsoon season.
Oh,
so about once a day, they have this
nice.
big red dust cloud that blows through. The tree branches are falling all over the place. I saw a construction team.
Armageddon?
Yeah, I saw a construction team like at 10 p.m. trying to like hold with ropes up a fallen power line and install a new like tree post style power line. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. But then the rains come and it just pours and thunders and lightnings for like an hour or two.
Damn.
And then it's gone. It's dry. It's like evaporating, so the air kind of gets a little bit moist from that.
Wow.
So I really enjoyed that. Drove up to Flagstaff and went camping a little bit when I was done with the conference.
That's awesome.
Flagstaff is actually a higher elevation than Denver.
Really?
Which I didn't. Yeah, Denver brags about like Mile High City or whatever, but like Flagstaff is higher in elevation. I think at one point I was at like 7,000 feet.
I didn't know that.
Well, I was in Flagstaff. It's really cool there too.
That's awesome. Well, it sounds like a good trip.
Yeah, it was really fun.
What else?
Shout out to Arizona.
And we also went to Waxahachie this past Friday.
Yeah, check it out on the Twitter. We streamed some of the songs on there.
What an amazing show that was.
Yeah, it was really fun.
The Crutchfields killed it. They had a new guitarist playing who was fucking awesome. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It was just an incredible show.
It was a good show. I have a little bit of regret about that show, though.
Oh.
Because we spent a lot of time across the street. The show was at the Fillmore. We spent a lot of time across the street at the Boom Boom Room. I just heard from a friend who saw them in Arizona yesterday that the two openers were killer.
Oh.
And that we missed some good opening music, which I hate to do because when the openers are really good, like I want to support them.
Yeah, you want to support them. I just
love the Boom Boom Room so much that I wanted to spend more time there, and I think...
And Hannah and I had never been to the Boom Boom Room, and that was our first boom, and it was great.
First boom.
Yeah. But yeah, no, openers, like, it's always a hard decision to make whether you're going to go see the openers.
Because you end up in the venue for too long, spending too much money.
And I've seen some really bad openers. I've seen some really fucking amazing openers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had this one experience where I was watching an opener for the Hold Steady, and the keyboardist from the Hold Steady was also watching that opener, and I got to, like, talk to them.
That's cool. See, I wouldn't have recognized him. I feel like I should study the faces of the band that I'm about to see with flashcards. I mean, I'm the guy who loses track of the characters in the movies too, though. So I don't really fault myself for not recognizing people.
Well, you and Hannah both have this like face blindness type thing going on. Like Hannah,
it's significant.
Can't tell the difference between like a lot of dudes' faces.
It's men,
like white dudes' faces.
It's white men.
Yeah.
With dark hair in action movies, typically. Yeah. I'm like, what is happening? You're like, that's the main character. He has a hat on. It's like, fuck.
Yeah, that's what happens. Anyway, let's get to the show.
Yeah.
right, so today we're talking about breaks. So let's start with the definition, as always. Will.
A break. Start that one over.
Yeah.
Separate or to cause to separate into pieces as a result of a blow, shock, or strain. Okay. For example, the rope broke with a loud snap. The descriptor there. Or to interrupt something. Those are the verbal meanings of it.
Yep.
As a noun, break means an interruption of continuity or uniformity.
Okay.
Or a pause in work, during an activity, or an event.
Like, I need a break. Mm-hmm. Cool. All right, so that gives us a fuckload to cover.
Yeah, we could talk about pretty much anything right now. So let's dive in.
Where do you want to start?
I think we should start with bone breaks. As someone who has broken, like, a bone in, like, every appendage of my body, I feel like I'm uniquely qualified to speak about this topic. Have you broken any bones?
Yep, we talked about it on the podcast previously. I broke my collarbone and my elbow. And I also, definitely broke a finger. You can see how this one's kind of wonky.
Yeah, you didn't get that checked out, did you?
No, I didn't fix that. No. My index finger is, what degree curve does that have
it's
to it?
It's not
to the
bad,
side?
but it's definitely, like, if that's 180, right, it's totally straight line. Ryan's at he's like a 175 maybe.
Yep. So I jammed that a lot.
5 degree little
playing
bend.
Pop Warner football, and like being a bad skateboarder as a teenager, basically.
No basketball.
No. I was never so aggressive when I played basketball that I would have gotten injured.
It wouldn't matter if I was aggressive or not. I was just really uncoordinated with it. And I would jam every time I played, I'd have a jammed finger and like it would all swell
shit.
out. It would never break, but it would always really hurt.
So like walk us through your breaks. Like what bone breaks have you experienced?
So before I move on, you had the collarbone and the finger and that's it?
Collarbone and elbow happened in the same thing.
Right.
The collarbone healed-ish. The elbow, they were like, you're going to need surgery someday.
Oh, you haven't had the surgery yet?
No.
Usually they usually like re-break it and do it all like the day that you got hurt?
Well, I had a really fucking terrible doctor.
Oh, right.
And it was a bad experience.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes more sense.
It was a bicycle accident.
But that's it. Nothing when you were like really young other than the finger.
I was always the kid who didn't like break his shit.
Were you a stitches guy? Like,
no.
Did you like scrape, slice, and
never had stitches?
Because I was not a stitches guy. My sister was a stitches girl. She bit through her bottom lip. Someone was opening a door. She was in like first grade. I heard about this when I was in like fourth grade from the lunch lady. And I was like, this is not the person who's supposed to be telling me that my sister just got like taken to the hospital.
No, definitely not.
It should be my teacher or the principal, not some lady that like knows my name and face and that's it.
The all-knowing lunch lady.
Just like, wow, you're awful. But no, she was opening a door in one of those bar doors. So I guess as she was going into it, opened out. So I think someone was pushing the bar from the other side and they ran through, and either the kid's head, who was smaller than her, or the door pushed her bottom tooth all the way through her bottom lip. You could see her teeth through the lip. It was fucking gnarly, stitched up mess for a while.
That's disgusting.
So I was never that, but those always grossed me out way more. I feel like the broken bones are always somewhat tolerable because there's no like open.
There's no open wound. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Unless it's a compound. Isn't that what is that the name for it technically?
Yeah, I think I had one compound. I was too young for that. I fell down the stairs a lot as a child.
Really?
Like multiple times.
Did your parents like oil the top of your stairs?
I don't know. I know that one set of stairs in my house was wood with no carpet.
Yeah.
But those weren't the stairs that I fell down. I fell down the carpeted stairs. Yeah. So I must have been wearing slippery socks or some shit.
I feel like even like sock on carpet would create more friction.
It should. I don't know where my socks came from.
Anyway, so yeah, so you first break. What was your first break?
My first break, I don't remember. Apparently, I broke my arm or fell down the stairs or something when I was like very young.
I like that this is just like I might have fallen down the stairs that time. Yeah. Like this is just a thing that happens.
No, like it's also like I hear
as a child.
I've heard these stories from like multiple people, and I just like I feel like my uncle put it in my head that I have an extra bone break than I recall. Oh. Like okay. I think he misremembered or confused with one of his kids when I broke a bone, and I think I have one stuck in my head. So if the n equals 0 break would be the one that I don't remember, which is like stairs, I guess, and an arm or a wrist.
Okay.
The one I do remember was like dinner was running late. I was like probably 3 or 4 years old.
Uh-huh.
I was watching Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego on television, the like PBS show.
Yeah.
Which we can digress about Carmen Sandiego.
Yeah, we have a thought about that.
So we, that's a great thought though.
Just wait, listeners.
So I walk upstairs, 4-year-old me is like, I'm hungry. My mom's obviously annoyed and not done with dinner yet, and I'm not going to make it go any faster. So she hands me a piece of American cheese. I put that in one hand and a glass of milk.
Yeah.
I take that, lots of dairy. And I begin to walk downstairs back towards the television. And I think,
man.
I can't explain the floor plan. The kitchen was kind of on the 1st and a half floor.
Uh-huh.
And there was like wrought iron where you could see from the kitchen down through into the living room, but only halfway.
Okay.
And I could see the TV the whole time, and I think I was distracted, like watching the TV as I walked down, and I just crumbled and fell and broke my elbow. They re-broke it and put pins in it and did surgery that day.
Fuck,
you can see the scar still here. I was like 4 or 5. Yeah,
Jesus.
I wasn't even in preschool yet, I don't think. So that was like the biggest trauma, and it's right on a growth. I think it's right on a growth plate too. So they really had to get in and like. And fix it up. So I don't know if I think the pin is still in there. It doesn't set off metal detectors or anything though.
Okay. That's cool.
It's the only real bad one I've had.
So that's one.
That
was the worst one?
That was the worst one. Yeah, and I don't really remember it. Another one, my sister and I were playing. I got a sword from the circus.
Yep.
Like little like ninja swords.
Yeah.
Plastic.
Plastic? Okay, yeah.
And I was on the swings and I had my sword and I was really into Final Fantasy 6 at the time. And I was like, oh, I'm like such and such character with so-and-so's sword. And my sister decided she was going to like take it and she threw it over the chain link fence next to my house. Oh. So I decided to go get it.
It's kind of a douche move.
I fell over the fence into a yard full of dog shit and angry chow chows and a locked gate. So I broke my wrist falling over the fence. I'm stuck there screaming my fucking ass off at like, this was probably like age 8.
Poor child.
Trying to get my mom to come get me. My mom had to like superwoman, like reach over a chain link fence and pull her 8-year-old over the fence. Whoa. Because I couldn't climb. I wasn't going to climb again.
Right. Of course.
And there's a padlock on the gate.
Jeez.
So yeah, so that one,
broken wrist.
That was a wrist. I got a scar from that one too.
Wow.
That was the one where I felt cool though, because like people signed my, like I was like, people signed my cast.
I was always fucking jealous of that.
Special attention. Yeah. And I had like a special partner who would like write for me. I'm like, yeah.
The signing of the cast seemed like a thing that everyone should experience, and I was really frustrated that I didn't break anything as a child that would have caused people to sign my cast.
Just be grateful it didn't happen in 6th grade or later. I am, because I know then you just end up having dicks all over your arm.
Oh, like a month. That's true.
And that's annoying.
That probably wouldn't be true today, but maybe it would.
As a teacher of middle schoolers, there would at least be one.
Shit.
There's always that kid.
So, like...
Can we go back to Carmen Sandiego?
Are you done with your bone breaks?
Maybe. I don't think so. I think there's more.
Let's finish the bone breaks.
I don't think the rest were breaks. I definitely had like a casted sprained ankle.
Okay.
Like a severe sprain.
Yep.
I had like a shoulder injury from snowboarding. Mm-hmm. I've definitely had 5+ concussions.
Right.
I got a concussion playing tennis.
How the fuck did that happen?
Like being really, really, really over, like trying to overextend myself for a ball that was above my head. And I swung, right? And when you swing, your momentum takes your arms forward and it kind of kicks your legs forward a little bit too. So I'm like V-shaped midair falling. I don't land on my feet. I land on my ass and then I smack, like, just like kind of like boom, head whiplash into the concrete.
Wow.
And that was bad.
That's really bad.
It really hurt. I haven't been like rattled like that since then.
Well, concussions are bad. I mean, I've had tons of concussions. If we're going to talk about those, that's its own digression.
Right. What's your worst memory of concussion, like that you felt the most brain dead afterwards? Because I definitely felt something when I hit my head.
Well, when I was like 6, I was on a bicycle. Again, I always get hurt on bikes. I was on a bicycle. I was with my mom and stepdad, and we were riding our bikes through this graveyard near his house or something. I vaguely remember that. And then I I didn't see myself do this, obviously, and I don't remember this part, but I was going like downhill or something, and I hit a rock, and I flipped over the handlebars, like the whole thing just kind of went over, and I hit the back of my head on the ground. There's a scar from it, but you obviously can't see it because I got some hair. But so the next thing that I remember is being in the ambulance and or being on a table or bed or something in the hospital, and I was blind and conscious for 45 minutes.
Whoa, you remember being blind?
Yeah, definitely.
What was that?
Fucking terrifying.
What was that like?
Nothing.
Aware? Was it white or black?
In my memory, it was complete blackness, but the sense, like the lack of sight, I think the blackness is just like filling in for just absence.
Yeah, because I've always wondered, like true blind, like if I were to be truly blind, what would my brain process? I guess the whole thing is it doesn't process your visual signal.
That's all. Yeah.
At all.
Or at least for me, that's what it was. It just didn't exist.
Oh,
so I was just like scared, and I remember the feeling of like whatever, there was like metal like next to me, and I remember feeling that. And then hearing people's voices.
Right, and you knew, like, spatially that there were people around you.
I could hear
in
everything.
Certain directions.
Yeah, I knew that I was in a small room, that kind of thing. But, I mean, the memory is really not so vivid.
Right, but
so,
you know it happened. Right?
Yeah, I know it happened.
Like, I remember...
hear the story, that helps.
And then you don't know, like, you confuse the story with the memory.
Oh, yeah, I mean, aside from, like, really vivid moments where I can remember, like, sensations, like that one, all memory is projection after...
Right.
After a certain point.
Allegedly, in a similar like tangent, the 2 times that I've had to go under anesthesia for surgeries in my life, I've like bet the doctor that it's not going to work. Like multiple times. Like as a child, I'm like, you can't make me fall asleep. I can't even fall asleep on my own.
Yeah, I have a fucking difficult time sleeping anyway. Yeah.
Right. No,
but it worked.
Oh, my arm's here, so I think it worked.
Yeah. So that's it for my. I mean, like I've had other concussions, but that was the real one. That was the big one.
What would be like it's like, let's get like gross with it. Like bones that you either wouldn't want to break, feel like would be really traumatic to break, don't understand how they could break or how they could heal. Like like strange thoughts that you have or fears, irrational or rational about bone breaks.
Anything like skull related obviously is fucking terrifying. I don't know, breaks scare the shit out of me because you don't like the feeling associated with it is like you go into shock and then it's like this extreme pain once the shock wears off.
Right.
And it's a different kind of pain than anything else I've felt.
It really is.
It's just weird because I could feel like in the shoulder, I could feel bones rubbing against each other. And that was just like a really strange sensation. And I'm sure that anyone who's broken a bone has had a similar sensation. And so that's like, honestly, anything. I just never want to break a bone again. I think like the upper leg that would be a really bad one to break because it would take a lot. A hip breaking would be all really bad.
Yeah, because that surgery is brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, my father just had his hip replaced.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they go in and they chop off like half your bone. They screw in a metal rod. Your leg is basically detached from your body for a good portion of the surgery.
Ugh.
They go in, they scrape out and clean out the inside, like the receptor part of the joint, right?
Yep.
They screw in a fake ball part of the joint and then they attach it together. And then they make you get up and walk.
No.
Yeah, because
like the rehabilitation,
right? Like you have to. It's not like you get to lie down for like forever. Like you're gonna be immobile, but like physical therapy starts like pretty quickly after the surgery. Like I don't want to say like 10 minutes after you get off the bed, but like definitely within 24 hours. I think way sooner than 24 hours. They were making him like stand and just try like because you got to get your body used to the muscles still being there and still being strong, or else you start to like atrophy and lose strength because you've separated all this shit so much. So hip definitely scares me because like the surgery's terrible.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying.
I've always wondered also about broken ribs.
Yeah.
And how you set a broken, like they don't do anything. It's just like
a finger or a toe.
Don't cough.
Yeah.
Is the prescription for a broken rib.
Wait, make sure that it's not about to impale a lung and let it try to heal.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything else about bone breaks?
No, I think I want to move on.
All right, so the other night we were talking about Carmen Sandiego and how strange of a show it was. how strange of a game it was.
Why she was like always lost.
Yeah, like the setup for the story led us to this idea, and what we really want to do is to make a movie. Walnut Desk Productions movie.
Yes.
Called Carmen Sandiego. And the trick here, though, is that the reason that she's lost is that she's very intoxicated. She has a hard time. She's like distant from her family, and she's intoxicated. And she's played by Jessica Walter, who is Lucille Bluth, and who also is Mrs. Archer's voice. And we think she'd be perfect.
We know she's been typecast into this role, but like, let's do one more.
Let's do one more.
Because it's gonna be gold. She's still in the red. She's still lost.
Yep.
She's a raging alcoholic.
Yep.
That's why she's lost.
Oh, it's gonna be hilarious.
Oh, she's on Saturn. Like, how the fuck did she get there?
What the fuck is going on here?
She doesn't even know.
Yeah.
And
It's
like
gonna be
the whole movement of the piece.
Guardians of the Galaxy meets Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. That's my pitch. If any of you know anybody who does movie shit, this is it.
Yeah, I think we should treat her as the sympathetic villain, right? Where you're like, oh, she's not actually evil. She's just like happens to do all this stupid shit while she's drunk.
Yeah. And then the people are trying to pick up the pieces, and we won't leave much room for solving the mysteries being a positive thing, because we're just going to leave the trail of dust. Right. It's like the opposite of the previous narrative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that could work really well. So if anyone wants to work with us on that, we can have it written real quick.
Oh, we'll have a script in 3 days if you give us the green light.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on. Taking breaks.
Are we going to take a break from talking about Carmen Sandiego? Is that what we're going to do?
We're going to break. We broke for Carmen, and we're going to break away from Carmen.
Let's break away.
So taking breaks. Ways you can take breaks from things include most things. Yeah. Anything that you stop doing and go back to, you've taken a break from. But commonly, relationships. People talk about taking breaks from relationships, and we can talk about that. Taking a break from like electronics and the internet. Taking a break from like alcohol or weed or something like that. And vacations, which are breaks from your everyday routines.
Yeah. I like breaks in all forms.
True.
Typically like those like little brain, like you're focused on a task and you got to get your brain off the thing. Just for a couple minutes, you come back and there's like tons of clarity, right?
Like a meditative break.
The one that like makes me want to dive in a little bit, and it's just hilarious that people think that this phrase means that you're going to have a successful relationship afterwards. But like, let's take a break.
Let's take a break.
Any couple, I mean, maybe this isn't true. Any couple that has ever uttered those words is no longer together right now or is about to break up.
Or like, if you are a listener who has taken a break and has come back to a relationship and that relationship worked and is still currently working, we want to hear about it, because I don't believe that those people exist. No. I've been on breaks.
It's basically like a vote of lack of confidence. You're like, I don't think that we can work through this together. Yep. I think that we need to work through this apart. And then to go back to a person who you can't work through things together and like commit your life to them, I don't think that there's no correlation there.
Unless there was like a serious like personal problem that couldn't be solved in like a specific space or time. Like if you were experiencing some sort of post-traumatic stress or something like that, I could see that.
Where like I need to
go fucking take care of this shit.
Sort yourself.
But still, I mean, ideally, if you have a partner, then they're your partner.
Right. And in that case, like, wouldn't you just not take a break? You would just be away from one another. Like, I feel like the phrase "take a break" implies a different type of distance than physical distance. Like, it's emotional. It's emotional distance. Yeah. And it's like changing the rules of an agreed upon relationship. Like,
totally.
I know a lot of it is typically not explicitly stated. And I think like in good relationships, you actually articulate what those things are at the beginning of the relationship.
Absolutely.
So that you don't end up in a fight down the road of like one person's conception of a relationship versus another's. And it's like, if you can't stay within the bounds of that thing, the thing is broken, and it's not take a break. It's like, it's broken and it's done.
Right. I think often that's the case. I mean, in relationships that I've been in where I've taken a break and come back to the relationship, that's happened before. Mostly it's because the people in the relationship were young and I think both of us were like, maybe we want something else. And then we're like, oh no, I'm uncomfortable, or like I'm so used to being with you that we end up coming back together. But it's not like those relationships worked out for very long.
No. And then, yeah, the youth of it definitely plays in, but I do think the break is like an important, like, yeah, I've done that as well.
Yeah.
The take a break or break up and get back together thing. And it's just like, I don't know, it adds, there's like an elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Of that relationship for the rest of it.
Right.
There's always that like, oh, well, they like, bailed at this moment when one person did or did not want to bail, or like similar things like that, where it's like there's like an asymmetry and like a power imbalance then like in that relationship at that point, because it's never a mutual, like both of you come to each other on the same day and say, let's take a break from one another and walk away. There's always one person who gains power from either proposing it or by getting rid of it, by coming back together.
Interesting to phrase it that way. Yeah, I never really thought about it that way. I think that's probably true.
Yeah. And I know it feels a little bit dirty to think about like power dynamic in a relationship that's supposed to be a partnership.
Yeah.
But I think that's maybe the cause of failure afterwards, is that there is then a power imbalance where one person got to say by decree, this is not happening right now, we're taking a break from it, and then also got to choose, this is back on again.
Right.
And then I think in the other person's mind, at least like in my experience with this, like when it's happened towards me, that it's like just power dynamic is way off in that relationship. Totally. And it's just like there's a person in charge right now who's setting the terms of the relationship.
Yeah,
you're like
there's
playing
a demand.
Game you didn't sign up to.
There's an ultimatum, there's a demand, there's like they're asking you, like in a break, you're technically asking somebody to like wait in some capacity.
Which is absurd.
Which is insane. And I think, relationships, most people in the world don't even really probably have the ability to get along in a sustained way. And if you're in a relationship and it ends, that's probably for the better. I feel like, it's like the Louis C.K. thing, there's no bad divorce. Like, there's nobody, there's
bad relationships, but yeah.
regrets it like a year or two later. Nobody's like, fuck, I really wish that could have worked out, unless there's something weird going on with that person.
That's true. Yeah. But and another important one, and I was able to do this a tiny bit while I was away. It was kind of hard because I was in a computer science conference, but taking a break from electronics for the few days that I was out in the woods, that was huge. Did you get to step away from your phone at all while you were in Massachusetts?
Well, I technically had to work a little bit, but I was definitely away from my phone. I didn't even have it on me a lot of the time. Didn't know whether it was dead or alive. It was great. I love that feeling of, there's a panic that comes at first, and then you let the panic go, and then you kind of just feel like happy, content.
Dude, it really is. It's kind of like you're going through withdrawal.
You are.
It's an addiction. If you check your phone every now and then, whatever, you get a dopamine hit when you get a new tweet. Or
totally.
When you get it. And if you don't have that anymore,
you got to find somewhere else to get your dopamine.
Do you think that's true, that you do need to find another place to get your dopamine? Do you think that your other vices kick in harder when you're taking a break from technology?
I don't know. I think you reel a little bit. You kind of look for something. You panic. I don't necessarily know that I like found or find anything else, but there's definitely like an absence.
Well, I've never considered it. Like that question just came to mind, and I've never been mindful enough to notice like, when I put my phone away, do I find myself like fidgeting, or do I find like what are the things that my body's trying to do,
or just where your thoughts go? Like what kind of things you start thinking about? I mean, that's I try to think about that because I'm like super addictive personality, so I try to be aware of what my mind is trying to do when it's giving me certain thoughts. I don't know.
Speaking of addiction, also I was listening to a really interesting audiobook that was it was on Audible. And I was like on a plane, and it was about worrying, and I don't recall the name of the book or the author. I didn't listen to the whole thing. But it was about worrying and how your body kind of like gets a little bit addicted to the process of worrying about things and sussing out like what's the worst case scenario from here and here and here and all the other different possibilities. And I think that that's a thing that I definitely notice is like when I free my mind to not be consumed by technology or another escape world, you end up like the problems, air quotes, of life come crashing down on you.
Totally.
And you use it as a distraction.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were just talking about this the other day, Hannah and I, about anxiety, because I'm like extreme high anxiety all the time. And I'm constantly worrying about potential this, that, and the other thing. And I was thinking like out loud, and it's like, I think one of the reasons I really like I love horror movies that scare me. Like paranormal movies and like demon movies and like occasionally a really good alien abduction movie.
Oh, those are
like my like go-tos.
I like those better than the paranormal ones.
But there aren't very many good ones.
No.
We need more alien abduction movies.
I think
another thing I'm
Carmen
gonna write.
Sandiego. I mean, I think clearly the Walnut Desk podcast is turning into like a brainstorm think tank for good movie script ideas.
Totally. But one of the reasons I love those kinds of movies, I think, is because it gives me a totally illogical fear to immerse myself in for 2 hours or an hour and 10 minutes or whatever. And it's like very relaxing to be so afraid of something that could never happen.
Well, that's actually kind of how the self-helpy portion of the book that I was listening to, the second half, gets at. They're like, you need to trick your brain into, like, you need to change your mind's relationship with worrying about things. So the two things that he prescribed were to make your worry, take it as illogically far as possible.
Yeah.
Like, when you start to snowball things, don't snowball within reality. Snowball outside of reality and trick your brain into being like, well, then obviously if I like eat this piece of bacon right now, I'm not going to get abducted by aliens at 5. And you kind of like distract your brain from the logical series of events into an illogical one, just like you said. The other thing was to just be more mindful of how many times you worry during a day, is to like carry around a small container of, he suggested, Tic Tacs in the book. And every time you catch yourself going down a thought like that, don't try to stop it. Don't try to control it. Don't comment on it. But just take one of those Tic Tacs and either eat it or get rid of it.
How many Tic Tacs are in a container?
Well, because there's like 50 or 100 in a box, right? So at the end of the day,
boxes a day.
Well, that's the thing. Eventually you wouldn't, right? Is the goal.
Okay.
So like when you monitor yourself for doing that, you start to be able to interrupt it before it happens. Like you end up not going through those patterns, because what you do is you have to do a physical action when you have a mental reaction.
Right.
And that starts to make you more in control of that, and you don't worry by instinct anymore.
Yeah,
or you can at least
ritual.
acknowledge it.
Right? Yeah, that's awesome.
So that was interesting. I haven't done that. I mean, I definitely get like worried about stuff. I'm kind of like on vacation mode right now, so I'm not really like tripping on much stuff. But
that's another break topic. Vacations, a break from your routines.
Whew, they're great, aren't they?
I feel like everyone should have to take a vacation like at least once a season for like a week. I think our like work world needs to compensate for that to keep people healthy mentally.
Well, that's kind of like what sucks about capitalism, right? Is there's this disconnect between like personal well-being and like a bottom line.
I mean, and as as things get automated and as the work week requirement hour-wise reduces for productivity, like you can do a lot in a short period of time. My job, honestly, I can do a lot in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
So when companies recognize that, it is great. And they, like if you were employing somebody and you were like, shit, if you can work in 4 hours today and get everything done, I don't need anything else from you.
Right. It's project-based.
Yeah.
It's not, like whereas my job is like time-based.
Yeah.
I need to be in the place from time A to time B. And like, yeah, obviously, like you need to take time to teach kids things, right?
Yes.
I don't disagree with that as a model for my job.
Of course.
I don't think that like you can rush through teaching. Like,
definitely
you
not.
can't have enough people or whatever. Like, I don't propose we go to like a big lecture hall in middle school to try to like cram all the kids into one room. I give one lesson and then like sign out.
Hell no.
But I think it's interesting how certain fields are kind of incompatible with that model.
Definitely.
But the upside of being a teacher is that I had most of last week, all of this week, and most of next week off. So
totally
I have 3 weeks, and I'm not like I work a lot during the summer. Like most teachers have more than that.
Right.
But it felt great.
That's awesome.
I mean, I'm just not worried about shit. There's no deadlines. There's no 120 other people's anxiety that I have to worry about.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
Awesome.
So,
I mean, it's like you got to use that time to actually make yourself take a break.
That's another thing I've noticed about vacation is like I sleep through the part of the day where I'm normally waking up.
Yeah.
And getting myself into gear. So getting into gear when you look at the clock and like you've had your cup of coffee and it's like almost noon.
It's not good. It's not
and you're
great.
like, what am I going to do today? Like I missed the prime gym time. I have to eat, but the meal can't be eggs because society tells me that that's weird.
No, I do
and like
that
it kind of just messes with me a little bit. So like,
it
I'm
throws
like,
you off.
but sometimes I find myself like starting my day and my projects at like 6 o'clock.
Right.
Like I'll like log in and work on some videos for the podcast or like play some music or whatever. But it's like 6 p.m. I'm supposed to be winding down and I'm just like, let's go, like project time. Stay up till 3 and repeat the whole.
That's the
cycle.
thing is you can't go to bed early when you wake up late.
Right.
It makes it difficult to get back to the routine too. But you know, it's an overall positive.
Yeah. And the last one, taking a break from alcohol or like smoking weed or even like taking a break from eating certain foods.
Yep.
Diets, like
Diets,
going like a temporary gluten-free or like diet phase or something like that. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the healthy thing is the everything in moderation. The unhealthy thing is that I tend toward extremes. So I'll be like, fuck, I went out too much this weekend. I'm not going to drink for 2 months. And I never follow through with that. That's the problem with these things is breaks from like types of food or whatever. They don't last.
At least not for me.
Yeah.
Like I don't have the mental fortitude to like quit anything for a month that's like something that I enjoy.
And the morning regret thing is the thing that I probably would try to avoid if I were to take a break.
Right.
Is like I just don't want to feel that.
Right, yeah, it's not necessarily even like the health benefits or detriments of excessive or taking a break from drinking.
Yeah.
It's like the lack of the worried, anxious, terrible feeling in the morning. That's like a physiological response. It's like not your anxious brain running away with you.
Yes.
It's actually like your blood pressure is high and you're dehydrated and you have a headache and you get into this like state of bullshit.
Totally. And like me left on my own without anything, there's a certain amount of self-loathing involved anyway.
Right, yeah.
I don't need more. I don't need more.
No. And you're basically like writing yourself a prescription for that when you pour that fourth drink or whatever, right? Like,
right. And I think you're basically setting yourself up for that when I am when I say I'm gonna go on a diet or something. Like someday I'm gonna want to eat a burger. I fucking love pizza, etc. And it's like if you fail, then you rag on yourself more than you reward yourself for succeeding. I think that's what I do anyway.
I think that's a huge thing, and I've realized that about all things, and not just diets, but like success in projects or small successes in goals that you set for yourself. I think it's really important that you celebrate yourself in a way.
Totally.
Because if you're not celebrating yourself for small stuff, you don't even have the muscle to celebrate yourself for the big stuff and really get a payoff for like, I took a whole month off from eating gluten. That was awesome. I feel great because I'm accomplished, not necessarily because eating gluten is terrible for you. I don't believe that. But
No, it's true. You gotta like celebrate your successes and the things that you do. Well, when you achieve a goal, like it's just the basic thing of like setting a goal, achieving that goal, and feeling good about it is really hard to do.
Yeah. And it's hard to do without a lot of meta-analysis. And I feel like a lot of people go through this life. I know I was definitely one of them until recently, where I've become more mindful of like needing to set up incentive structures for myself because of having to do that for children while I'm teaching them.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like if you're not giving a reward for going through the process, your brain's not going to want to go through the process anymore. Right. It's a work for nothing.
Makes everything just kind of annoying.
And as long as you meta plan that stuff ahead of time, you're not going to run into that problem of like, oh, I beat that goal, but it doesn't feel the way it should.
It doesn't feel right.
I feel like I still am a pile of worthless garbage.
I feel that way every day. And then, so we were talking a little bit about small breaks, like taking a break from doing something to come back to it maybe an hour later, 30 minutes later.
Yeah, I think that's a big one.
And one place where breaks occur, especially in the workplace, is the break room.
Oh, okay. So you don't have a break room. What's your break room when you work from home? What do you do to like take a break? And
That's the hard part about working from home is it's like hard to make yourself take breaks. You just want to get all the work done and more work keeps coming. But, I go down there's like a tiny porch we have in the apartment. I go out there. I'll sit and drink a coffee. I'll like play the guitar. I like stack things that I'm working on because like there's the podcast, there's like my work. I do like writing stuff. There's like music, and I just kind of like rotate through them so that I'm not doing any one of them for too long,
so
except
that
for work.
Feels like a break instead of an extra thing on the work to do list.
But I do have to get better at taking a break from that and just kind of like letting my mind go.
Yeah, because like for me, if I worked at home, I would have a really hard time taking a break until the day was over, because there's this whole spatial thing of like my rest place and my workplace. Like if they were the same, I feel like I would go crazy. Like I would need an apartment with an office that I don't go in when I'm not working.
Yeah.
Or that I only go in for like things that should be worky.
Yep.
Like you work on music, you work on the podcast, like do that in there. But then like when I'm taking a break, I got to be outside of that space. It's like a physical thing for me.
It's like a, privileged problem to have, right? Working from home is like amazing. You can do whatever you want, but like that's why a lot of people rent out like offices to go, or like writer people rent out offices or art spaces or something like that to go, so that you have a mental association with the space. Because
I never thought of it that way. That's why those co-working spaces exist, because people have that same problem. Okay.
I think a lot of people have that problem, especially if you have like depressive tendencies. Like, I mean, that was the hardest thing for me at first. But I mean, overall, it's a plus. But yeah, for breaks, it's hard to take breaks at home.
Yeah.
But when I do go into the office, there are several break rooms.
Tell me about the break rooms.
And they're amazing.
Oh, they are?
They're fucking incredible. There's like fresh fruit. There's like coffee.
It's all just like
there's like
out
food
in there and ready.
Yeah, or like you can go around and find places where people will make you food and stuff. It's great. It's like awesome. Like everywhere is a break room.
Right. Wow.
But that's like the whole.
That's like the whole startup culture, right?
Silicon Valley thing.
Yeah. So my thing is like my break room is like the place where you always run into people. Despite what it might seem like. When I'm talking all day, I do talk a lot.
Yeah.
When I'm talking all day to kids, I need to shut the fuck up on my breaks.
Okay.
And when I walk into a room full of teachers, you can imagine a lot of them have similar mouth runny tendencies. And it's just like, you go in there, it's like one fridge, right? That's where I keep my lunch, right? And you gotta heat it up, and there's like 2 microwaves.
And
you go in there and you gotta wait, or you eat cold lunch.
Okay.
which is
what I would do, yeah.
But you gotta like blow past people. There's like the anxiety of rudeness that happens, where it's like, I don't want to spend any time in there. I don't want to eat my lunch with anybody. Like, no disrespect.
Yeah.
Give me an hour.
Right.
Just no stimulus. It's
Have you ever like
too much.
walked in with like big headphones on over your ears?
No, I should.
And
then just ignore them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or would that be rude?
I don't know. I doubt it would be rude. I don't think I would feel weird if someone walked in with headphones on and like ignored me but like there's the stand around of like you're waiting your third in line to heat up food.
Yeah.
And there's some people who, this is a huge pet peeve of mine. Wow. I'm digging up a lot about myself right now. Thank you, listeners.
It's a deep episode.
Yeah. People don't know how to use the microwave.
What?
Do you understand where I'm going?
I'm afraid right now because I don't know what you're talking about, and I'm afraid that means that I'm one of the people who does not know how to use it.
I have run into very few things that require 4 fucking minutes on high power to heat up.
Okay.
Very few things. Why would you put a non-frozen anything into the microwave for 4 minutes?
It's
going to come
explode?
out boiling.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't matter. Even if it's soup, like at a certain point, it's hot. It's boiling, and it's just in there boiling for longer.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I actually tend to under microwave things.
Me too. Because
I'm cool with it.
Fuck it.
I don't care that much.
But and it's like really inconsiderate. I feel like people are not. And this has happened at like every microwave I've ever been at in my entire life. It's not like I'm talking about my workplace right now. Like you just don't press 4 minutes and stand there when there's 10 people in line behind you.
Yeah.
It's disrespectful.
It is.
Eat your food a little bit, like warm it up. Don't scald it. And then everyone gets a longer break. I don't want to spend a quarter of my break waiting for you to heat your shit up. And then having to make small talk with you about like, I don't want to hear your Game of Thrones theories, to be honest. I've read more about it than you have.
Yeah, or at least like there's only so far you can go. And at that point you're just exchanging information you both know because you feel like you have to be friendly. That reminds me of this story that Hannah told me about her workplace. And I'm going to tell her story really quick. Apparently there was a notorious lunchtime person who
was it fish?
heated up fish.
Oh, it's fish. I knew it was going to be fish.
In the break room. and like they could never find out who it was, and it got to the point where they sent out like a workplace email like, please stop heating up fish at lunch because it's fucking killing everyone.
Did that message come from someone on the level of the people they suspected, or did they like escalate to HR and like they sent out like a new ordinance about the microwave?
I'm gonna guess that it was escalated.
Yeah, I feel like no one would take that responsibility. Yeah, because another thing about the break room is like a lot of people will leave food in there, like they'll skip lunch.
Yeah.
And then they'll forget, and then there's just like moldy ass Pyrex in there.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be the guy who throws away someone's $4 container.
But if it's got like mold that is multicolored,
and I'm not gonna scrape
beautiful.
it in the trash and save your container. I'm gonna
no.
throw that away. It's gonna die for the good of the order.
Damn right. Wow.
Break room.
That's the break room, everyone. Yeah. So, I mean, we're coming up on time, but let's talk about break fast.
Oh, break fast.
Yeah.
It's the most important meal of the day. Did you know that was an ad campaign?
Is it real?
Yeah,
Is it true?
No.
Is there any truth to that?
No. They actually say you benefit by delaying breaking your fast as long as possible because your body's in a deep state of ketosis.
I hate breakfast.
Meaning that like your body's burning fat for fuel instead of carbs. Your body's cleaned out all the energy that you ate from the next day. And actually the longer you can keep yourself in that state, you're burning your own stored fat for energy instead of external glucose. So then the whole idea of the ketogenic diet is based on the fact that breakfast is basically the least important meal of the day.
Well, hold on, because it's break fast whenever you do it.
Right.
But doing it early, having your 7 a.m. break fast is not important.
It's not, I mean, unless you are a person who's like fueled by complex carbohydrates or simple carbohydrates, right?
Right.
If you're used to having a glass of orange juice in the morning, your body's going to come to crave that every day.
True.
But you've probably, I mean, you made like a very like yes face when I said that that's
because this is new to me. This is totally new information to me.
But you don't eat breakfast. Right? Everyone eats breakfast, right? Because you break your fast whenever you do.
Yeah, that's the bad joke, but that I made.
It's a good joke.
See, my problem is like I always get shit because I tend to just not be that hungry until about 10:30.
Mm-hmm. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah. I
mean, unless you're like an Olympic bodybuilder, no one's really using that much energy that you need to keep re-upping sugar in your diet.
The only time I run into a problem is when and this happens often actually, consume a lot of coffee really early in the day. Especially now I'm getting up like earlier or trying to. If I get up and consume like a medium-sized-ish cold brew portion and I don't eat with that at all, then I get jittery.
Right. Well, yeah, you need something to, or you need to
let's
somehow
just like have a handful of trail mix.
Modulate your caffeine intake to like compensate for the fact that you have an empty stomach, right? Because like you probably used to eat breakfast and drink that much coffee. You probably prefer your coffee to taste a certain way and have a certain volume of it.
Yeah,
so you have to kind of like walk that tightrope of does this taste right versus is it enough coffee for me? Like I had to switch from cold brew to regular iced coffee because I'm really sensitive.
Just more caffeine.
And I don't like to eat a huge breakfast either. So when I have a large cold brew, I'm out of commission for most of the day.
Yeah.
Just like strung out.
I know. We have missed recording this podcast because of that.
Yeah.
Because of both of us doing that.
I'll drink a whole coffee and I'm just like, ugh.
We can't do it. Imagine this, listeners. We are too caffeinated for this fucking podcast sometimes. So breakfast, I do like it though because I like the food.
Yeah, it's a good, breakfast tastes good.
Food is fucking amazing for breakfast. I mean, you've got your waffles, you got your French toast, like all those like sugary ass dessert style carbs that you can eat for breakfast.
Yeah.
I mean, I tend now to go toward like eggs and salsa as like a go-to breakfast.
Like you put salsa on the eggs or you mix them in while you're scrambling?
You make like scrambled get a little cheese on top, just a little bit, and then you pour salsa and hot sauce on top.
Hot sauce is important, especially in the morning. Our friend Matt, who'll be on the podcast soon, I like talked to him the other day, and he was like, cool. He's been putting like some spicy in his breakfast. He said he read somewhere that's good for you to have
spicy's good for
spicy in the morning. I don't know. I got to look into that, but I tend to do it instinctually. Like, I want this to be spicy right now. So I think it's probably good if my body's being like craving it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the ideal breakfast for me on like a work day is like a really good breakfast burrito.
Ooh.
Like a small-ish one, not like a giant one, but like just one with like good stuff in it, eggs, lasts me like
well, you
forever.
define the ingredients of a good breakfast burrito, because I don't love breakfast burritos, but I know exactly why I don't like them. What do you like about breakfast burritos?
So this might be the first step. It's in a flour tortilla, which you don't like.
No, I like flour tortilla.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
okay, I thought you didn't like. All right. So it's in a flour tortilla. Lay out the tortilla. Put down a little bit of cheese. You put your scrambled eggs on top.
Okay.
You add your protein, whether you want it to be beans. I like a little bit of beans in mine.
Refried, not whole, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Refried.
Yeah, so I think that's a no-brainer for burritos.
And then also like sausage if you want that, or like tofu or something on top. And then you do your hot sauce, you do like your salsa, you do maybe like some cilantro.
Okay.
And then you roll it up, and that's your breakfast burrito.
Good. I would eat your breakfast burrito.
Okay.
One thing that I can't stand in burritos in general, and I'm moving away from this, like most places, including I think Chipotle is the worst offender. I hate Chipotle burritos now. I used to love them, but so much rice. 3/4 of the meal is rice.
Can I digress for a second? Because Chipotle, the problem with Chipotle is that everything you get there tastes the same.
Yeah, it all tastes like cilantro.
The menu is like vanilla bullshit. And when I used to live in Santa Clara, there was this amazing taqueria, and like just down the street was a Chipotle. And the Chipotle had a line out the fucking door all the time, and this taqueria was empty. Right. What the fuck is up with that?
Same thing happened in Oakland, across the street from the only Chipotle within miles. Like there would be line around the counter, around zigzag. It never went outside that I saw. And there's a taqueria across. It's called the Burrito Shop. It was amazing. They had shrimp. They don't have shrimp at Chipotle.
No, fuck no.
And they went out of business.
Nah. Anyway, that's my rant about Chipotle.
So I don't think rice belongs in burritos anywhere near Chipotle's level.
I don't really like rice in my burritos.
No, I don't either. The other thing in a breakfast burrito that's really good that you can kind of only get if you got like time or a fast food connection is like really, 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 really crispy fried potatoes.
Oh, that sounds good.
Instead of beans.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Or maybe like mixed in with the beans.
Like a hash brown kind of like grated.
Yep. Or like a home
slice.
fry, or like a really small chunk cube kind of thing.
That's amazing.
Just really good. It adds that like little like crunch into it, which you don't get unless you put like raw peppers or like raw onions or something in there.
Damn.
My ideal breakfast sucks because I'm trying to like not eat a ton of carbs. Like I said earlier, like it's just like not good. Everyone's discovering every day there's a new article about any processed breads or sugars are like way worse for you than you think.
And I prefaced my favorite breakfast with it was on a work day. Right. On a weekend day when I can hang out, it's French toast and bacon.
Right.
But what do you got?
No, the bagel with cream cheese.
The bagel with cream cheese.
The supreme
plain bagel?
Champion. It doesn't fucking matter.
What kind of bagel?
Any bagel.
Really?
It's not like a fruited bagel.
Yeah. Although the cinnamon raisins,
I have a soft spot for cinnamon raisin as well. But like, don't fuck with me with the blueberry.
Oh, I like the blueberry.
It's gross. They're tiny. They're not even real blueberries. They're just like little wads.
Honestly, I don't even need the little blueberries. I just need it to be like fake blueberry flavored from Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh well, that's Dunkin' Donuts is different.
Yeah.
But don't fuck with me with the pumpkin. I don't want a pumpkin bagel.
Never had one.
I want like an everything, an onion, garlic, or like a plain. Plain is even fine. If they don't have everything, I usually go with plain.
Plain's pretty good. It's a pure breakfast.
But I've realized it's a means for me to like eat 3 spoonfuls of cream cheese. That's really why I like it.
Oh, I put so much, like an ungodly amount of cream cheese on.
So I got to just come up with a like lower carb way of eating that much cream cheese for breakfast in the morning.
Just
probably
a
like
spoon?
celery, or just eat. Yeah, but that's like the texture.
I like it. I don't know.
Yeah?
I'm good with that.
I've never tried that. I think there's like a civility filter in my head that doesn't allow me to eat out of the cream cheese tub with a spoon. But I think that now I've been given like the like, no, it's cool.
It's
dude.
okay
It's
with
really
me.
Good. No, but like I feel like I've been given, as long as someone told me it's okay, because I feel like it's something I have like the voice of my grandmother or something in my head being like, that's uncivilized. Like, don't do that.
I mean, it is, but who cares?
Right.
You do what you like.
Do what you feel. This is the Walnut Desk Podcast. Thanks for talking to us about breaks, listening to us talk about breaks.
Wait. Because we dropped this last time, and we have to continue with this. We have to say breaks yes or no.
Yes or no. You're right. We've dropped it like a couple weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
We're not going to continue to drop it. We're
No,
picking
we will
that.
not.
We took a break
From
the approval.
Well, then I think we should also kind of change it where we should give our score. Like, we should do like a 1, 2, 3 reveal so that we don't influence each other's rating, because then we can debate it afterwards.
It's like an up or a
like
down.
We
like
do
a
1, 2,
thumbs
3,
down?
thumbs up, thumbs down.
Okay.
If we agree, we talk about it. If we disagree, we talk about it.
All right, let's do that.
All right, ready? So breaks, yes or no? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. We're both in favor of breaks.
That's 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, breaks
That's
are
2
great.
thumbs up.
In all forms except for relationship forms and
But here's the
bone
thing.
forms.
Relationship form. If you're on a relationship break, you know you're fucked.
Oh, right.
That's kind of a positive.
That's kind of a good news because
you
can
get
off-
clarity.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bone breaks. It's a life experience thing.
Yeah, that's true. And all the other ones, awesome.
So that's the Walnut Desk podcast. Tune in next time for we're not sure what we're going to talk about.